Hi, everybody, and welcome to Spiritual Talk. Our guest today is none other than Sonia Rinaldi. Now, some of you may know Sonia from her amazing work. And yes, just like Elisa Beaver, our guest that we had on, and we spoke about Sonia then, Sonia is one of the world's leading experts in instrumental trance communication. Sonia, welcome to the show. But before we go too much further, though, Sonia, we've also got another guest here as well, because you're based in Brazil. Am I right, Sonia?
Yes, I'm talking here from Brazil, and thank you for the opportunity to be talking to your audience.
Well, we really appreciate giving up your time to be here, because I know you're very busy in your work. But we also have Lisa. Hi, Lisa, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Paul. Thank you.
You're here to help us to interpret the language barrier, and we'll see how it goes. We've got so much to share, guys. I'm really excited to interview you today, Sonia, because instrumental trance communication is groundbreaking. I'm a medium, but you go that bit further. You hold an advanced degree in sciences of religion from, if I can pronounce this rightly, from Pontificia University Cattolica.
Yes, it's a Catholic university, yes.
So you come from a very much a science perspective with this, whereas I'm more mediumistic. So can we talk about your inspiration? What got you into instrumental trance communication?
Well, it would be a long story, but let's say that about 40 years ago, I was very young, and I was interested in verifying about how all religions were truth, which one was the one that was really truth, and because each religion says one different thing, so
yes,
how it can work. So
yeah.
I started attending a Spiritist center, and I think that that was the beginning. I think that I wanted, let's say, solid proofs, solid evidences that, for instance, that we would live after life. So I started testing, because by that time in Europe was happening very important communications through devices. And then I thought, well, if this is real, if we can effectively to record a voice, wow, that is done. So that is why I started, because I wanted solid proofs.
And that in itself is to go on that goal to find that proof is inspiring. So how did you start that research? Was it very much from a scientific perspective?
No, by the time, absolutely not. I not even had lost someone dear by the time. So it was really to try to follow a way to try to interpret life with a solid basis. I didn't want it to follow a path that later in my life I would discover, oh my God, this is not real. So I wanted something solid just for that. So my interest in scientific evidences came in much later. Well, look, when I started, there was not instructions, anything.
Yeah.
I had to do all by myself, and I started recording voices. And by that time, voices were horrible. Obviously, I learned it much later that the communicators, the transmission stations, were not so ready by that time, so they had to develop as well. As we also were developing here, they were doing much a bigger effort to develop their devices to reach us. because in truth, the communication is from there to us. It is nothing that we can turn on and we can connect to them. So they have to better their equipment, and so they did. So at the beginning, it was very horrible voices. Much later, I was instructed by them. It was already having some dialogues, and they asked me to start recording images. And so I did. I not even knew where to start or how to record or anything, but I invented myself my way and went on, and then we were improving together. So I think that now we have both voices and images, and everything is working.
You've got a page, I believe, where people can go and see these pictures. Can you tell us where people can go and connect to you to see these pictures and see your work before we go too far down the road with this interview?
Lisa?
So we have a couple of places. Sonia's Brazilian Institute is iPad. Everything pretty much on that site is in Portuguese, but there are lots of images. We have Facebook pages, the Brazilian and the U.S. Facebook pages, and those who follow us every single week who receive reports, opportunities for recording, all of that, they're part of our Patreon.
That haven't been claimed. You'll find the link below in the comments.
Okay, so now let's change it to voices. And obviously the other side is making a huge effort to develop the communication with us. So something which we consider very important were the cell phone contacts. But before that, let's say that Thomas Edison, by his time, he tried to develop a device that he called it Spirit Radio. Even that it didn't work, but that was the name. And simultaneously, Tesla also thought he would be able to build a device that he called the ghost phone. Also didn't work. But it was too early. But apparently, simultaneously, a Brazilian father and inventor, he seems to have succeeded in making a device because, in spite that he was pursued by church and he couldn't open his mouth about what he was discovering, but anyway, his altar boy informed that Dr. Lundell, Father Lundell, many times interrupted the mass, got from his pocket a little box, and the altar boys could listen him talking in Italian with the little box, and from the box there were voices. So this is registered, and we think that possibly Father Lundell was the first one to succeed in creating a device that could talk to the loved ones. This was about 110 years ago. So the idea of talking to the other side just developed it more and more. In the years 90s, more precisely in 1996, I received a phone call from Dr. Raudev. He was a pioneer of instrumental transcommunication, and he phoned not only me, but some other researchers by the time also in the US, like Sarah Stepp and Mark Mays. So I was not the only one. And I received 3 phone calls from Dr. Raudev. Those phone calls were physical, let's say. The telephone would ring. I could pick up the telephone and talk clearly. I have here let's see if it will work, because that video was not working. Let's see if you can listen to the dialogue. It has subtitles. Oh, I think that I can share with you the recording, and then
Okay.
you insert it in the video. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So, okay. After that, and more recently, last year, Tesla and Landau showed it that they are working together for contacting us, but through cell phones. And this is something very curious because they phoned a American boy, a young boy, and the boy informed that he had a message for me. And at the beginning, I thought, oh, it cannot be truth. He is not receiving anything from my cell phone, as he's claiming. But indeed, he mentioned many details that suggested that this was truth. So this is the dialogue that I'm not sure if you can be able to listen, but this is the dialogue from Tesla and Dr. Landau to this young boy, American young boy. Okay, I'll try to play. Let's see if it works.
Me?
Of course. Yes, we hear you. You hear us.
Who are you?
It's Lendl and Rounded. We're on space station 771. Hey, hey. Tesla's here, but too far for communication.
Dr. Rounded?
Everything is okay, child. Relax. No need to be nervous. No nervous.
I'm not nervous.
You hear us. We hear you.
You and Sonia will work together. Using us. We're back. We can use your technology again. No need for any light bridge.
What bridge? What do you mean by our technology?
Be open to us. Don't be scared.
I am open.
To show you that we can get to you in many ways.
We are here. We will revolutionize communication.
I understand. I'm not scared, but I don't believe.
Not believe. Birthday boy.
My birthday, you know?
No birthdays. But time goes on forever. So why have one?
What's next?
We're here. We hear you. We hear her.
Who's her?
Sonia, of course. Dear Sonia.
Okay, but what do we...
Goodbye, my child.
Oh my God, the phone just hung up.
Wow. Now back to the show.
That is what I brought for showing to your audience. This is in my Patreon website.
Wow.
So this is another case, Jonathan's case.
Sonia, can I stop here a sec and just make an observation?
Yeah.
How clear those images are.
Well,
Are you using specific instruments for that to capture that detail? So I've seen a couple of people now, Elisa and Tony, that do instrumental transcommunication, but yours are so clear. There's a real defining difference, and I know these guys, everybody's working to get better and better and better. I know Tony's on a breakthrough with something he's doing, but yours are so clear that you can't not recognize.
yeah, indeed, I would say that the other side developed better the equipment, because it is
Right.
still them doing that, not me. All
Wow.
we have here, and I think that there is a documentary that shows me working live, and I think that
Yes.
maybe Lisa can tell you later about
Yes.
this documentary.
Yeah,
So
please.
that
I have
first-
got it here.
You
Yeah.
do. So all I have in my side is, for instance, usually vapor from an ordinary humidifier, and the photo aside. So let's talk now, for instance, about Jonathan's case. And so, look, he appeared as here in the transimage at the right, some looking like wearing a suit, and promptly his mother remembered that she had a photo of her son using the suit and the tie, and so that it was something like to say that it is really him, because he appeared younger and in suit and with a tie.
Yeah.
And here also. So what I had was, this is another photo that mother sent. And as you see, I had the vapor and this image here, because as we mentioned, we just have one photo. In the case, I had this one, not this one that mom sent later for comparison.
Yeah.
Okay, here we have Tess case. She was stabbed in a robbery. She appeared simultaneously in two different ages. You see that at the right, she's a bit older, and at the left, you can see that she was a little girl, and the mother sent this picture at left for comparison. Observe that the position of the head is different, and but it is simply her.
It just brings up so emotional, and I know you guys, you're working with this all the time, and I get like that with the mediumship, but when you get to hear people's personal stories, and you just touched on her personal story, being stabbed in a robbery, but there she is. But it's
Should I share my screen, right?
yes, please. Yeah. I'm looking forward to this.
I will show you some apparitions of the loved ones, so that you can understand better how ITC can work. So the first case that I'll show you is this way. I usually ask one photo of the person, of the deceased one, which will go to Lisa. Lisa care of all the communication here on Earth. So Lisa will receive one photo of the loved one, and no much more details, such just name and when died, and that's all. That is all that I need. And Lisa will receive the photo. For instance, this photo of this lady. She passed more recently, about 2 months ago, and she was from Mexico. And what happens in my recordings is that I will use one photo of the loved one as a reference. But obviously, we don't want to see that photo. We have to see other things instead of the photo, okay? The photo is supposed to change into something else, okay?
Yeah.
So this is how Lila, the lady, appeared. As you can see, I am here at the right. This is Lila transfigured. This is a type of a phenomenon. It is called the transfiguration. And this is Lila's brother. So instead of her photo, instead of Lila's place, the other side brought her brother. And later, my friend who was asking for this sent her her uncle's photo for comparison. And so you see that it is really Lila's brother.
Yes.
And obviously, it is absolutely not the same. There are no, it is important to remember that whatever comes from the other side, there is no similar image here. Obviously, the family will recognize because it is the same, but it is not the same photo. Okay.
But with that, Sonia, the key characteristics of the face is quite clearly that person. So you can see the shape of his nose and the eyebrows. They're very similar. You can see who that is, if that makes sense.
Yes. So the only photo that we had was the photo of Lila, the 102-year-old who just passed away.
Wonderful.
And Sonia will just send to the recipient any images that come through. That man's image came through, and she was able to say, I recognize him. That's my brother. Here, let me show
Wow.
you. So we
Wow.
didn't have any photo of the brother. We only had one single photo of Lila.
That's amazing.
Okay. So now this is another case. One phenomenon that is very common in my recordings is that the spirit friends, instead of sending, let's say, an image that is similar to the photo that I have, they will bring photos from the past. For instance, this girl passed at the age of 10, though she appeared as when she was about, let's say, 5 or 6 years old only. But see that she had hair,
Yes.
and when she closer to her death, she didn't have hair anymore. So here you have it again. See the details of the color of the eyes.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, this is another case. This is Matthew's case, and he passed it
This
at
is
the age
Alyssa
of
Bieber's
17.
son.
Ah,
Yeah,
really?
he is Lisa's son. Huh. So he passed of cancer in California, and again you will have the very same phenomenon. Here you have a closer photo
Yeah.
of when he was near passing, and here at right you see that he appeared in 2 different ages. You can see he maintains the very same traces, but let's say that in the transimage below, he could be, let's say, 10 years old, and the one at right above, maybe he would have some 7 or 8. So 2 different moments of Matthew's life.
Wow. Wow, basically.
Yeah. Okay, this is Andrew's case. He passed in a car accident at the age of 18, and look how he appeared. Here in the middle, you have his transimage, and
Yes.
at left, you have the photo that mother sent for comparison. So this seems to be something more important than we can notice at a first glimpse, because if the past of all of us is recorded somewhere that remains in our memories, but physically these are something like files inside a computer that will exist forever. So all our past is in our consciousness, and what the spirits are doing is to recover some images from your past to show that it is yourself, but in a different age or in a different moment, so to show that nothing gets lost. Everything will remain forever in our consciousness. Each minute, what is compatible to the idea of the Akashic files, the Akashic recordings, so that nothing gets lost.
And it's so healing in itself. So also, Sonia, while we're here, I know we spoke about this before the show, and I wanted to make sure we don't mind talking about this, but you have had communication with, obviously, human life forms and spirits, but you've also had communication with non-human entities. Would that be in the realm of angelics or extraterrestrial?
Yeah. We have to have in mind that the technology for reaching us on Earth is something very, very sophisticated, that no humans, even the most advanced inventor, would be able to do. So they have the support of the higher entities that not necessarily made their development on Earth. So yes, many are ultra-terrestrials and extraterrestrials. All of them work for bettering their communication with us. And
Wow.
obviously, these entities have much more knowledge than the humans ones. So we have humans working in the transmission station, but also extraterrestrials, and sometimes they appear also, give instructions, everything.
Yeah, yeah. Can I ask an obvious question? The people that are maybe listening to this for the first time, why do you think it is so difficult for those in the spirit world to communicate with us here? Is there a line, like some kind of line that we can't cross?
I think that maybe the line is established by ourselves, our mind,
Okay.
our non-beliefs, our difficulty in accepting that life goes on. But I think that if you open for these, yes, I'm sure that you can try and can succeed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And have you ever had any unusual communication that, like, for example, you know, we're obsessed with God down here on planet Earth. We have so many different religions and different belief systems. Have you ever had any kind of communication that talks about belief, God, or anything along those lines?
If I understood the question, I think that let's say that the best replies for us humans on Earth are the facts and the phenomenon. No wonderful and high explanations or cosmic orientations. No, this is not necessary. If you have the phenomenon itself, it will show you that something is happening. Because, for instance, I think that I already assisted some 300 mothers, and they saw pictures of their kids that they never saw from the past. So where are these coming from?
Yeah.
Right? So it is something that the phenomenon, I think, that it speaks by itself. It is much more important than to have a cosmic transmission of, you know, that you cannot touch, that you cannot be sure if that is real or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, I come back to the potential for what you do and the work that you do. But can I just ask you as well, what's next? Because you've got so far and you've done so much advanced work here. Do you have anything about to come out, or is there anything you'd like to share that's coming up in the future for you guys?
Maybe. Yes, we are waiting for having better support from the other side, so that maybe we can accelerate the number of people that we can help. Because, for instance, by now, to work with the images take me very long. For instance, all I can assist is about 3 or 4 for mother per month. And then everything we publish, I show everything that I'm doing, how I'm doing. And this takes a long time just to help the 3 persons. So
Wow.
I see the necessity of having something more fluid so that we could assist many more people. And I think that maybe at this moment, we are achieving this moment of new technology to assist more people simultaneously without having to keep them waiting. But obviously, all of us, me included, are learning in this meantime. For instance, in these 3 or 4 years that I have my patrons. Every week, they will receive an e-magazine of 50, 60 pages, sometimes more, with all the phenomenon that happened that week. So it's a lot of information. It is a lot of data that show that the afterlife is real. So if you were not the one assisted yet, at least you were learning. I think that is already a contribution. But yes, I think that the what will come next will be a way of helping more people simultaneously.
So I'm going to kind of ask Lisa this question as well as you, Sonia, because this is so much groundbreaking work, but you're also up against a lot of non-belief in the world. How do you deal with that? I mean, this stuff should be out there for people to be able to access. Now, I know, Sonia, you said that it takes such a long time to process this, and maybe this is at the right pace, but how do you deal with the skeptics that don't believe in this kind of stuff?
I would say that I don't deal. I don't care.
Yeah, good. I love that answer. I love that answer. 100%.
I think that
I do
we've
my
also
work.
come to the conclusion that if you don't believe, there's truly nothing that you can see or hear that's going to convince you that it's real. I mean,
100%.
I think everybody makes the transition on their own, in their own time, if they're going to make it at all. It's very fair to say that I receive dozens, but that's on the low end. It's usually more than dozens of requests every single month. Email, social media, my son has died, my spouse has died, my sister has died, please help me. And I mean, and that's very hard for Sonia to quantify. Well, who am I going to help? You can only work with so many people. And so this is where she's going with asking those on the other side to help us to figure out ways to be able to help more than 3 or 4 people at a time. Because it is wonderful to be able to look and see someone else's son and say, wow, that just like you said, you were very emotional looking at those. They are very emotional. You still want your son, your husband. You want to be able to see it. And so that's the really big thing that we're up against right now is how do we help more? And what we've learned is that they always come up with answers on the other side. They come up with the answers and they intuit those answers somehow to Sonia, and we implement them and she's able to. So we're working with our Patreons now. That's where most of the recordings come from. We've been operating on a lottery system where we just put everybody's name into an envelope and we pick out so many per month. So it doesn't matter if you've been a Patreon for 2 months or 2 years. You have just as much of a chance. We don't want it to be that, oh, you contribute $30 a month, so we're going to put you ahead of the game. We believe that Spirit's going to lead my fingers to pick out exactly who needs to see them at that time.
Well, I'm so excited. I'm so excited about the work you do because it's another level of being a medium. And when I bring communication, for example, when I'm demonstrating, there might be 50 people in the audience, but I might only be able to give 10 messages in that demonstration. I'm hoping that the evidence I give proves to the rest of the people that life exists beyond. And I can say, and I feel quite emotional about it, that your work is phenomenal. And Sonia, and you've dedicated your life to this, and you're inspirational. And I know other people like Lisa and other people, that they've followed your work and your inspiration, and you guys are doing such great work. So how can we find you again, Lisa?
So if you want to support us, the best and to receive reports every week, follow the advancement of the research, the best way to do that is through our Patreon, which is patreon.com/Sonia_Rinaldi. That is that. Sonia does not ever charge for recordings. She never has. This is the only monthly source of support that we get. And so because of that, that's why we feel with all the requests that we get, that we need to work with those who are supporting first. And people are led for various reasons. Sometimes they're led by a medium. Sometimes they just wake up and they feel, oh my gosh, I got this name. I have to find this lady. and they look, and that's how they identify their loved ones, because
Yeah.
there's no mistake. They're coming through to be found, and they will be found by their family and friends.
Well, we can't thank you enough for coming on today and giving up an hour of your time. All the links, guys, we'll share in the comments as always. Any questions, if you can't get hold of it, you can always contact me and I'll put you in touch with Lisa or Sonia. So don't worry, guys. The information is going to be put out there. So once again, thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Lisa,
My pleasure.
for spending your time here on Spiritual Talk.